Welcome to a lovely, albeit crisp morning here at Keeper Garage. This video, we're going to be looking at the Casa Lambretta replacement fork for your Lambretta. Doesn't help that my drill bit is shagged. That's one hole done. What I did last time was, the first time I did this, is drilled straight through. And that meant that my inner mudguard was a little bit skew. If that's on my own scooter, it doesn't matter. But someone else's scooter, I have to be a little bit more pedantic. So what I think I'm going to do is place the mudguard up there again. Place it over that hole. That looks just about right, that does. And I'm going to mark it off. Give it a bit of a centre punch, I think. That'll do. Bit of lube in another hole. Oh, I was starting to worry that was just solid pipe. Solo. Did Bruce for you. Alright, so for this was actually missing the inner mudguard, so that's why I was forced to buy the Repro inner mudguard. What I want to do now is just check that the mudguard bolt actually goes through. I might have to adjust the angle a little bit with the drill. It goes straight through there. Perfect. Wow. There's a first for everything, I suppose. Nice. So that's that done. Next job, drilling the inner mudguard. I'm going to drill these from the inside out. Makes it easier. I can put it on a bit of wood and then drill them. First, what I have to determine is what the size of the... Where are you? What the size of the inner part of the this grommet is. All right, let's have a look. Don't want to squish it too much. I just want to put it like that, or otherwise I won't get it out. 6.5 mil, actually. 6.5, which is good because my 6 mil drill bit is knackered. My 6.5, maybe I've got more chance with that. You should really use a proper drill, a plate drill bit. I've got one of those. I just no idea where it is. Be careful, when it catches it, it's going to spin all over the place. Give it a bit of a twist to get it in there. I see it should have been a little bit further over, but hey, nobody died. and slightly skew if as well. It's a good job it's not visible. So I have lined up the original fork, which is broken, and the new replacement fork. Looks beautiful. If you're really keen-eyed, you'll see that on the original fork the threads are longer. This one is a little bit shorter. But one thing I didn't notice on, I think the lengths of those are actually the same of the fork itself, that is. I need a bloody something to measure with. Got a measuring thing. This is the thing that I noticed when I built my Series 2, is that when I went to fit the fork, I thought everything was good. The slot for the bolt is in the wrong position. Now, it's really easy to think that they're in the correct position because they are actually the correct distance from the top of the fork tube down to the slot itself. But as you can see here, there's a bigger gap between the slot and the threads compared to the original one. Now, I'm just going to do a couple of comparisons here. I don't know where they got these drawings from. And it's quite a few years ago since I bought my first TV 175 Series 2 fork. Try saying that fast. And the issues have prevailed. So I have actually been a good boy, and I have sent an email to Scooter Centre, who will talk to Casa Lambretta to see if they maybe could adjust that a bit, because I don't think it's a fluke or something when I have to do this on my third fork. So anyway, the whole length of the steerer tube on this one is, the original one, is 46.4 mil, and on the new replacement one is actually 46.7. Let me do a double check. Yeah, so it's a good 46.3 actually, 46.7. So actually the height of this is actually 5 mil higher, and that means that the slot that is just a couple of mil from the top is actually too far up. So what I'm going to have to do is measure the bottom of the slot, which is 45, and I'll measure 45 here. Now it's not a lot, but it's enough so that you can't actually preload. It can't actually fit your headset so that it aligns with your chrome ring, which is a bit annoying. So I have to bring this slot down by about, I mean, at the factory, they get these reproduction ones made. They could actually just elongate the slot slightly, so that, because obviously there's going to be differences out there, but I know this is not going to fit because it doesn't align with that one, and that is just like roughly, it's 3 mil out. So I have to put another 3 mil on there. And what I did with my TV, with my LI 150 Series 2, is file this groove further down with a bastard file. That took ages. The reason why I did it with a bastard file, because it was already installed in the scooter. On this one, I think I'm actually going to get my angle grinder down there and then maybe finish it off with a file. So this is one to watch. It's better to do now. That hole in the fork is better to do before you paint it, by the way. I didn't catch that this time around either. Well, I have to say, that went a lot quicker than the first time I did that. I just need to measure that inside lip. I don't think I moved that quite enough. Inside lip is actually 45 mil. Inside lip there is 45 mil. So that's actually job done. I'm having camera issues at the moment. I can't turn the camera off with the off button, and that's after the paint boost, so I think I've buggered it up somehow. Another one to watch, which I said off camera, which I thought was on camera, is the fact that the last 3 forks that I've rebuilt and fit a new crown race on, the crown race is split when I've been fitting them. All of those items have come from Casa Lambretta. I think they're slightly undersized. On this build, I am using the original crown race because it's not buggered, so that's a good thing. The original parts sometimes are the best. And I measured the circumference at the base of the fork where the crown race sits, and they measure 36 millimeter, both of them. So in theory, this should go down easily because this is also 36. Not quite. I measured it to 35.99 or something like that with my vernier caliper. And what I'm doing is I'm just tapping it down. I'm almost home now before the camera turned itself off, and I realised I wasn't filming. But I'm using the rubber part of this hammer. My thinking being that if it stops, it's because I have got it on a little bit skew width, and I can knock it on the other side. So I'm just tapping it gently. So it stopped there, so I reckon it's maybe canted on this side. And that was correct. I can try it here again. Ah, it's going down nicely. Oh, that's nice. I'm happy. Nice solid thump. Then it's at home. Right, so that is the mudguard fit. Nice and secure, I am glad to say. I would have actually preferred to have those a little bit further out, I think, those rubber buffers, but they're not touching the forks, so they are not going to be rattling around in there. So this is how I build. This is how I prefer to build all my forks, to be honest. So this is a good example of how I like to build them. I like to use the GPDL type, what they called, rod stops. These are the standard thickness. Do not be tempted to use the double thickness ones, because all you do is make your fork springs go coil bound and make it stiff as fuck. That's my take on it, at least. I have bought brand new rods. Old rods, they tend to bend, rust, fall to bits, snap, whatever. So these are from Casa Lambretta. I have chosen, which I always do on these forks, I have this on my on both my forks, this setup. I've chosen the Casa Lambretta TV 175 rubbers, fork buffers. They're the same size. So nice thing about that is you don't fit them wrong. So first thing I've got to do, obviously, is fit the upper, although it might not be obvious, is fit the buffers at the top. Stick is manual. They say you need to check that there's no rubber in the threads, but I find, actually, amazingly enough, that these Casa Lambretta ones are pretty good. And what you can do to check that the threads are okay, just like threaded in there, and they are absolutely fine. I've actually never needed to run a tap through the threads on these. There's always going to be a first time, obviously, but yeah, not on these. So attach these to the top of the fork boot. It might be pretty hard to see on camera, but this is as close to the original LI grey colour that I could get to using a RAL code. I can't remember the RAL code. I may talk about that in the next video. And The owner wants to have another colour on the side panel and home cast cover, and I think maybe he wants the turquoise. The turquoise didn't come in to Norway. Never seen one, original one at least, but do know I have seen a few original paint ones on photos, obviously, but in the UK, and I think he likes that colour because it's a little bit different than the light grey and dark grey combination, which is probably this scooter was originally. Right, gloves on. I feel like Ed from Wheelie Dealer. I've bought these really snazzy orange ones from Scoot Centre, my main dealer. There we go. And some grease. Grease up the rods, like so. Too much grease is not enough when it comes to the springs. Just really lather that in on there. Fit the top hat bit. Completely different shape on the original LIs, but I find these pretty good, and they're easy to fit, so that's one of the reasons why I use them. Slide those up there, just let that sit there, and then we have to slide the links in. The links, by the way, these I pulled out of my Series 1. These are, if I'm not completely wrong, judging by the orange bushes in these, I think these are actually the evergreen links. And I had a question only the other day actually about these, and the question was, what rods do you use? Well, you use the solid rods with the attached ball and not the loose ball like you do on the DL. Reason for that, and the reason why you can tell that that is correct, is the cup is a lot deeper. On the DL type ones, the cup is quite shallow, and obviously they have the fixing points for your dampers. So this is an original type fork spring compressor. I do have another one of the type of these, and it was absolutely terrible, so I'm really hoping that this one works better than my old one does. Just slot that over the spring rod, then locate the holes on the fork and screw in these endy bits, which is something I'm not managing to do, I think. I'm off by a long shot. What? What's happening? Ugh. I can't get that thing to fit in the holes. I'm miles off. It's just the fact you have to use a little brute force. So I'll take it back. This was actually not that easy to use. Oh, I had to manhandle that in. That was a bit of a pain. And then it's a case of, in theory, press that down. You have to use quite a bit of force actually. Press that down and slide your links in. Obviously, on the links, you need to fit some greased link washers. I'm right-handed, aren't I? So I'm going to have to change hands. Ah! Bollocks. Fuck. Nah, I don't give up. I ended up putting a fork on a plank of wood, pulling it down with the whole of my might, and getting that sucker in there. Now, I don't want to scratch the fork legs. I'm just going to put that there, and then hopefully I should be able to release this tool. It's a bit of a pain in the arse, to be honest. Oi! That, ladies and gentlemen, is why we've got that is why we have the tape in place. Oh. Fuck. I've scratched it. Fuck. As you can see, in the end, I ended up using the K2. Actually, by the way, I found my mariner grease, which is handy. No, yeah, what was I going to say? The ended up using the K2 spring compressor because it's got a much bigger chance of not shagging the paint, and the paint actually looks good. What I did, because that can mar the tool itself can mar the fork or the paintwork. This time I put like a rubber glove underneath there. I need some grease in the cup, like so, and that literally gives you a bigger fighting chance of fitting the link, with dead easy, and gives you a free hand as well, which I like. And incidentally, because this is a TV 175 fork Series 2, I bought the .175 type fork link bolts as well. Oh, that was a much easier job getting that in. And where is my clean rag? On the floor, dirty. And it also gives you a much bigger chance of being able to fit the bottom rubber. Right, let's get this puppy put together. Just bolting that link in now. Yeah. Who says original stuff is always better? I actually think that tool from K2 Scooters is pure genius. So what I said, you don't have to, I've never had to run a tap through the buffers from Casa Lambretta. I find myself sitting here running a tap through the buffer on a Casa Lambretta. Do that. Don't follow my advice, I'm just an idiot. And I'll tell you why I'm an idiot. Thing is, just want to run you quickly through my favourite Lambretta fork setup. This is the, as you know, the reproduction TV 175 fork from Casa Lambretta. It is missing the hole for the mudguard. The reproduction mudguard I bought from Scooter Centre is missing the holes for the rubber buffers so that this doesn't vibrate on the fork. The fork itself is very nice. It does have the brackets so that it can fit external dampers. Brilliant. On the other hand, the slot for the bolt on your handlebar does not, on your headset, that does not fit or align with it, and it's going to be a complete ball ache when you fit that to the scooter like I did on the last one and end up having to file it by hand while everything is in situ. So yep, so that's a bit of a pain in the ass. I've informed him about that, but otherwise the fork is pretty good. The original spring tool, I hate those things. I'm never going to use that again. I'm always going to use these. This is getting a little bit tired, my K2. So I might have a go with the new one from, what's it called? Scoot Center, of course. They've got something similar like to this, which makes the job a lot easier, gives you 2 hands. Now, the total fuck up on this video, I should have really hidden it, is the fact that I was going to be really clever and donate my donate my drum links to Georgie for this build, so I didn't buy any. What I do notice now is a glaring mistake. We are fitting an original hub on this, and because this was on my Custom Performance disc brake, I have removed the lug, and that lug needs to locate in that wheel there. So that's a bit of a pain in the arse. What that does mean is I'm going to have to fire off an order to Scooter Center so I can get these fully built. And I'm going to have to knock this video on the head without actually building this fork. I will build it off camera, and hopefully in the next videos we will start putting this scooter together once I've picked up the frame sometime next week. Give and take a few days for waiting for fork links. But anyway, I digress. So don't forget, if you like this kind of stuff, do give me the old thumbs up. Thumbs down works just as well do the old subscribe. If you want to really support the channel, you can think about becoming a member. It doesn't cost a lot of money, and it really does support the channel. And I will love you and leave you, and see you all in the next one. Ta-ra!